You leave it alone and it will thrive, it will grow. Which is the most hardy plant and which is extremely difficult to kill. Some people joke saying that you can grow a Sansevieria in a closet. Have you ever killed a plant? Now I'm asking this because I've never come across a gardener who has never killed a plant. Each one of us has killed our fair share of plants. It is often very difficult as beginner gardeners to keep all your plants healthy and in good condition. What I've done today for you is I've listed down 5 plants that are extremely hard to kill according to me, and this is based on my experience. I have personally dealt with these plants and I have seen how hardy they are. So if you're a beginner gardener, these plants are excellent to start with. This is a reverse countdown video where we will start with the least hardy plant according to me, and then we will move up to number 1, which is the most hardy plant and which is extremely difficult to kill. Now to make this countdown video, we have designed a rating system and we've used certain parameters to come to this conclusion, which I've put on screen right here. So these parameters are further divided into high and low. That is because generally plants survive or thrive in one side, maybe on the low side or on the high side. Now I'll explain this further by giving you an example. Let's take the Portulaca plant. Now the Portulaca thrives in bright light, but then the moment you take it into a low light spot, it starts wilting and it stops blooming, and if you bring it indoors, it will not survive. It will definitely not survive. So the plants that I've chosen today are plants that fall on a very balanced way on both the spectrums, on the low side and the high side as well. These plants will survive in bright light conditions as well as in low light conditions, and that also applies to the other parameters that we discussed, like water. They survive with more water and less water, and in the video you will see that we will talk about all of this in detail. So let's get started with our countdown of the top hard to kill indoor plants. At number 5 we have the Aglaonemas, which are commonly called Chinese evergreens, and these plants are native to Southeast Asia. They're found in Sri Lanka, Thailand, Philippines and Indonesia, and they are often found as underplanting in tropical rainforests. The temperature in these regions are often high in humidity, high in temperatures, and also the light that they receive is usually filtered sunlight in these tropical rainforests. Aglaonemas thrive in such places. Now I've always had Aglaonemas in my house. When I was a kid, my mother had kept Aglaonema Silver Queen. I've always grown up with it and I've seen how hardy it is. Even today, I have had Aglaonemas for the longest time. The ones behind me here are all Aglaonemas, this one. The Aglaonema is very tolerant to low light conditions, and I know this by experience because I have a few Aglaonemas and my house is pretty dark. I don't get any direct sunlight in my house. These plants that I have kept have not only survived, they've also thrived and they've also given out blooms, which is excellent for an indoor plant. Now even among Aglaonemas, there are many variants. Some variants are dark green, some are light green, some are on the reddish and pink side. Now the dark green ones survive better indoors as compared to the red ones and the light green ones. That is because of the amount of chlorophyll that is present in their leaves. Aglaonemas are humidity loving plants, but it really surprises me as to how much they can go without water. And I've seen this because I have personally forgotten to water them for the longest time, and these plants have simply survived. They even survive when I put on the air conditioning and the humidity is stripped off the room. These plants continue to thrive and survive. The Aglaonema is a bulletproof plant, but it sits at number 5 and not on number 1, 2, 3 and 4 is because the plants that are sitting on those numbers are also strong contenders. Okay, so now at number 4 we have the very hardy Dieffenbachia, which is very commonly known as the dumb crane. Now this plant is native to the West Indies, Argentina and Mexico, where the climate is very dry and hot. Though it comes from such a place, this plant tolerates low light and sometimes it even thrives in absolute shady areas. That's why it's a very effective indoor plant. In fact, if you keep it in harsh and direct sunlight, the tips might burn. It also tolerates a good amount of bright light. The Dieffenbachia can go without water for a very long time. In fact, you need to leave the pot to dry between waterings. The dumb crane is pretty resistant to diseases, but on some levels it does get affected by bacterial and fungal infections which cause brown spots or yellowing of leaves. But compared to other plants on this list, it's a little more prone to some infections. Now the only thing that the Dieffenbachia probably doesn't score so well on is the tolerance of temperatures, because it prefers a warm climate. It doesn't like low temperatures, and it will definitely show on the plant. Now the Dieffenbachia has a very wide range of humidity tolerance, because I've seen it do well in very dry places as well as in damp and humid places also. At number 3 we have the golden pothos, which is also commonly called the devil's ivy or money plant. Now this is an extremely hardy plant which is very easy to grow and keep indoors. This plant is native to Southeastern Asia, where the climate is tropical, hot and humid. So these are the conditions that the plant enjoys, and it thrives in such places. This plant can survive in the darkest rooms, and it's also known to be kept in bathrooms and places where there's very less light. But I have seen it grow beautifully in outdoors also, especially when it climbs up a tree. The size of the leaves just grows so big, and you can see it thrive outside. So its tolerance to bright light and to low light is amazing. It also likes good humidity and it thrives in humidity. It will tolerate less watering in a dry climate, but slowly you will see the leaves wilt and yellow if you leave it dry for too long. Its resistance to disease is slightly lower because it is prone to a variety of infections that are bacterial and fungal. Now this is one of my absolute favorite plants that is on number 2. It is the Sansevieria, which is also commonly known as mother-in-law's tongue or snake plant. Now this plant, it's extremely hardy. It is a very tough to kill plant. If you have to kill a Sansevieria, you really need to have a black thumb, because this plant thrives on neglect. You forget about it and it will grow. Now when I say it thrives on neglect, what I mean is the Sansevieria likes to be left alone. You overwater it and it really doesn't like it, and it might wilt and its leaves might yellow and it might drop off. You leave it alone and it will thrive, it will grow faithfully, even for the longest periods without watering. Even if you don't water it and even if you don't fertilize it, this plant will remain and it will grow without any trouble. This plant is native to Africa, Madagascar, where the climate is hot and dry. So it thrives in a place that will be hot and dry. Now this plant loves bright light. It will grow beautifully in bright light. But the beauty of it is, even if you keep it in an extremely dark room, it will still grow. Some people joke saying that, you can grow a Sansevieria in a closet. That's how much it will tolerate low light. It can tolerate low water but not too much water. In my experience, this plant has a very high resistance to diseases, but there are some cases where certain fungal diseases do affect it. This plant doesn't need to be fertilized very often. It can go without fertilization for very long. Now it doesn't grow fast, it's a slow growing plant. So if you buy a small plant, you need to be patient with it and let it grow. As a beginner gardener, if you want to keep any indoor plant, I would suggest you keep a Sansevieria, which is extremely hardy and which can survive even if you neglect it. So finally we come to the number 1 spot, and at the number 1 spot we have the ZZ plant. The Zamioculcas zamiifolia is sitting right on top of our list at number 1. because we rate it as one of the hardiest plants we've ever come across. Its shorter name is ZZ because it's easier to pronounce. So I'll go with ZZ as I talk about it further. Now this is one of my favorite plants. It's not only beautiful with beautiful green, shiny, glossy foliage, but it's extremely hardy as well. And it's never ever died on me. Now the ZZ plant is very tolerant to bright light as well as low light. It has survived in my very dark rooms and it has grown, but at a very slow rate. Now I planted the ZZ right in my room where there's absolutely no direct sunlight, and this plant has remained well and alive and growing for almost 2 years without any direct sunlight. Now the ZZ doesn't grow as fast as it would in direct sunlight. When there's no sunlight, it grows very slowly. But for me that was a benefit because I didn't need to prune it and I didn't need to repot it, and I could just leave it there and I didn't have to worry about it. The ZZ does grow best in bright light, but an afternoon direct harsh light might damage its leaves. Now this plant can tolerate low watering very well. It can go without water for weeks and not a single leaf will droop. But when you start noticing yellowing leaves, you know that the plant is very dry and needs to be watered. This scores very high on resistance to diseases as well. In my experience, I've never come across any ZZ suffering from any diseases. It has a very good range of temperature tolerance also. It tolerates a very hot climate as well as cool climates in the house where there is air conditioning also. The ZZ is tolerant to low humidity as well as high humidity. Because it scores so well on all these factors, it's made to the #1 position on our list. Now I would say this to all beginner gardeners. If you want to keep any new plants indoors, you can always refer to this list because these are tried and tested plants that will survive with your first few years of neglect, and when you're learning to garden, when you're learning to care for your plant, you will make mistakes. These plants will be the most forgiving. So in the future, we will be coming up with a video where we will include the plants that we've not included today, and those plants are plants that need a little more sunlight to survive but still are extremely hardy. So if you liked our video and it has helped you, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Also, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please subscribe and do share this video with your friends as well.